Hi everyone, Summer here with Astaria Sen, and it's a hard day for me today. July 5th, my mother died. 21 years ago, she was drinking and driving. She went into head-on traffic and she died instantly. It was a really hard time, and some days I'm good with it, other days I'm not. I'm taking it 1 year at a time, kind of. I have a lot of repressed memories and repressed emotions. And I'm doing this video because my channel is about me, and I don't often show you guys every aspect of me. I tend to only show you the positive, uplifting parts, right? Well, I am the way that I am for a reason. I like focusing on positive stuff. And because of all the bad things that have happened in my life, I force myself to focus on positive, because if I focused on the negative, I'd never get out of bed. It would never happen. So I just wanted to share some of my feelings and some of the stuff I've shadow worked through about my mom. And it is a shadow work, but it's a shadow work into a positive. Uh, I don't see shadow work as it's supposed to be all negative and dreary and dark and a nightmare and hard, like in the sense of bad hard. I see it as hard to work through because you're facing consequences, you're facing reactions, you're facing interactions, you're facing conflict with yourself, you're facing feelings and repressions and anxieties and fears, and facing them isn't evil or a nightmare or anything like that. How you face them is important. How you challenge yourself to work through the shadows is important. And me, I tend to find ways to make them into a positive in my life. The death of my mom was an extreme, it was profound. My daughter was a year old. My mom was a really heavy drinker. We were actually fighting about her drinking, and I was a heavy drinker too. Uh, I drank a lot. I drank at home, I drank with my mom. I didn't drink and drive at the time. I don't think I ever have actually drank and drive, but I knew people who did, and I got in cars with people who drove and drank. And I partied a lot, mostly with her. I'd partied with her ever since I was old enough to drink. Like, I think I had my first drink when I was like 12 or 13 out camping with my mom, which, is kind of normal behavior. Parents are allowed to let their kids explore a little bit. But by the time I was 16, I was a heavy drinker with my mom. We partied. She would throw parties at her house. And this is not a video where you get to say how bad that was or anything like that, because you don't. This was my experience, and I've come to terms with it. So please don't leave comments about how what my mother did was wrong, or I shouldn't have had to go through that, or anything like that. Just leave that to yourself, because this is mine. But what she did when she chose to drink and drive and take that route changed my life. It changed me. I found a way to make it positive. I kept so much anger for her over it. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you do this to everybody who loves you? Why would you do that? But as a teenager, as somebody who's only 19 and didn't know the rest of the world and didn't have the experience that she had, I didn't know if she was unhappy or not. I didn't know if she was sad or not. I have no idea what was going through her head. We never talked about it. But I understand that through her death, I was able to change something important, because I don't drink and drive, because I'm not an alcoholic, because I stopped partying all the time. I curbed a lot of things, and I did it subconsciously. It's not like I went through with intent, like, well, this is what happened, so now I'm going to do this. No, not really. It was more like I just repressed a bunch of stuff, and I started counting my drinks, and I knew what I didn't want to be. And I didn't want to be her. And that is shadow work. And now that I'm older, I'm actually 41 now. My mom died when she was 40. So I have now lived past my mother's age of death. And I'm living my life because of her. I'm living the way that I'm living because of all of the mistakes that she made. And that made me who I am. And not in a bad way either. I have found ways to make it important for change. And I found ways to give it a positive influence on my life. I'm not angry with her anymore. I'm grateful. I'm grateful she was my mom. And I'm grateful that I had the time that I had with her. And I'm facing regrets of things that I said when I was notified by my then husband, not my now husband, my then husband, that my mother had left and she was drinking heavily and driving and they couldn't stop her. I said, good. I hope she gets in a wreck. And she did. And she died. And that's shadow work. Because I said something that I can't take back. I said something that hurts me. It didn't hurt her. She never heard it. It hurts me that I thought of something so awful and then it happened. And I know it's not really my fault. That's part of shadow work too, is acknowledging what is and what is not yours to carry. And I'm working on it. And that's where the positive comes in, because self-love makes you work through that, through all of this in a really hard way, but a good way. I'm healing from it. I can now see who she is. Like, there was a point in time when I couldn't even remember what her face looked like. I would look at pictures of her and I wouldn't even know who she was. I just saw this woman who I knew was my mom, but she just seemed like a stranger to me. And it was like that for a very long time until recently. And now I can see her again. And it's because I've worked through so much in order to even be able to see her. And I just wanted to share something of myself and have it be here in a space that's safe for me. I don't share this. I don't share this side of myself. It's not who I see myself as, but it is a part of me, and I am working through it. 21 years is a long time, and I didn't go through the grief process like everybody else went through their grief process, and I don't think anybody can. I mean, it's all very personal. Your grief process is your grief process. It took me 10 years to even acknowledge the fact that I was angry at her. I mean, I wrote about it, but I didn't acknowledge it. And awareness and intention are so important in self-love and self-care and that shadow work that we work through. And I'm working through mine. And I appreciate the space that I have right here to explore that and to be who I am in that space. And I'm just grateful that it's here. I'm grateful that the universe has done what the universe has done. I believe everything happens for a reason, and my life is better for it because it happened, because I've chosen to make my life better for it. Those choices are important. The choice to either be better or be worse. And I am constantly choosing to be better. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being here, and I appreciate you. And I hope you have a very beautiful day, and no matter what else, you are loved.